I'm joined here today by the one, the only. It is, of course, the victorious Giga Chikadze coming off the big win over Omar Morales, of course, at UFC Fight Island. Thanks so much for joining me, sir. How are you?
I'm great, my friend. I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're glad to hear it. Now that you're back home from Fight Island, how do you look back on that whole experience, the Fight Island, the Abu Dhabi, all that stuff?
Man, that was probably the best fight experience so far. It was amazing, like all the fighters, we felt like we were kind of king's guests or something like this. Really special.
And so, what made it so great? I know the travel, you guys got to fly in the first class and everything. The hotels looked nice. So, what was it about it that made it such a great experience?
Definitely, the we got business class seats, and definitely hotel was really good. But mainly, there how the people were treating us. Anything we needed, like we had like every hotel room has a phone, right? So we would just call zero and ask anything. After like couple of minutes, would be ready at the room. Would anything we would ask, anything would be ready in couple of minutes. That was really like special treat from there, and also just man the cage on the beach and. I don't know, like you had to feel it. It was something like imagine like the Mortal Kombat fights
Yeah.
these days on the island with all the ninjas there. It was pretty fun.
Is that going to make it tough to go back to, I guess, the regular fight week and stuff? Like, I know people are fighting at the UFC Apex and stuff. Is that going to make it tough to go back to, just the regular fighting stuff?
Uh, probably. I think it will be much different, but yeah, it's our part of the job. So we'll be. I mean, it would not be tough, but that was kind of very special treat. So we will remember this for forever probably. So hopefully we're gonna have the same treat in the future, even in Vegas or wherever it's gonna be.
And so there's a lot of fighters that said during Fight Island that, there wasn't a whole lot to do. Some of them were bored. Some of them was saying it was super hot. You couldn't really go out and do anything. Was that your experience, or did you just enjoy the entire thing from start to finish?
I enjoyed it a lot because I had to drop a lot of weight, and
Oh, yeah.
hot weather kind of helped me to cut easy my weight, and it was a fun. Yeah, definitely, it helped me a lot.
And so how was the flight for you? Because I believe you're flying in from Georgia, so it's got to be a little bit shorter than the people that are flying from the United States. But how was that whole experience for you? Was it a long flight?
I live in California, brother. I live
Oh,
in
okay,
Los
yeah.
Angeles, and I fly from here to Vegas. We quarantine for 2 days, and then we fly from Vegas in Abu Dhabi. And was kind of 16-hour flight. But since we had the good seat, I just slept and whole the flight I was sleeping like maybe like 10 hours I was sleeping, and the rest of the time I was talking to my teammates and having fun. So it was not really a big deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 16 hours is still long, but I guess when you are in a really nice flight, like it's got to make it that much easier.
True, true. Even in a plane, our treat was super nice. The people on the plane they were also very nice and were giving us a very special attention.
And so let's talk about your victory a little bit. Obviously, you beat Omar Morales. I believe you're the first person to hand him a loss professionally. How do you look back on your performance in that fight?
I had a great game plan. I studied this guy very well, and I just followed my game plan, and that was all this about. Like I really wanted to knock him out, but didn't happen, which I'm a little bit upset. I dropped him last round, and I really had a good chance to finish the fight. But as a game plan, uh, worked well. I'm very satisfied, and yeah, I think it was all good.
And so that's a few times now that you fought with no crowd. How is it for you fighting with no crowd? Do you enjoy it, or are you like some of these guys who don't quite like it so much?
Um, I like to have a crowd, definitely. It's
Yeah.
kind of different motivation, different fun, different that when people cheer your name. But as a as a for the fight, like I was hearing my coaches very well, and it was really good.
And so, like I mentioned, you are the first person to beat him professionally. Does that mean something a little bit extra for you, knowing that you're the first person to go out there and beat him?
Oh, no, not really. Like I had a big kickboxing career before, and I fought many times undefeated different fighters, which I got my W against them a lot. So, but he's just another guy. Nothing special for me because I have different plans. Anybody will stand in front of me. I have to make this fight for me and win the fight. So nothing special besides being some good fighter. Just a part of the job.
And so, for you, that's 3 wins in 2020, 4 wins total in the UFC. I mean, what's been going right for you this year, getting all these wins in a row like that?
That's definitely fun and makes me happy. But I had multiple cancellation for this year. Otherwise, probably I would have one or two more fights. Um, I really like to stay busy. I'm trying to get scheduled for the next month. Uh, as I mentioned, I was a kickboxer before and was fighting a lot, like almost like every month or every second month. And yeah, I just want to keep continuing my fights as soon as possible.
Is it frustrating for you to go from kickboxing, where you are fighting so often, and then you go to MMA, where sometimes you fight maybe every 3 months, every 4 months? Like, it's got to be pretty frustrating for you.
A little bit, yes, a little bit, but it's kind of brings some good hunger. For this fight, I was preparing for more than 3 months, so uh, I was thirsty to uh, perform and to fight, to represent my country. And when I step in the cage, it was more like a party time for me and celebration time. So I was fighting happy while in the cage
And so, you
because of all
mentioned
this.
you mentioned representing your country a little bit. What's MMA like in Georgia? Because I feel like there's a lot of countries where we don't hear so much what the sport is like over there. We're seeing more and more fighters come out of Georgia. What's the MMA scene like over there?
In Georgia, it's getting very popular now because now we have multiple fights inside the UFC. But mostly all these fighters are left the country and training in uh, different countries. Like we have Liana from who trains in Russia, Roman who trains in Ukraine, Guram now they signed, he trains in Sweden, Ilya fought in the same event when I fought, trains in Spain, Marab who trains in New York, and me who trains in California, right? So all us, we had really tough time to move from our country and find a really good gym to train. But back in the days, that MM Georgia was not on point. But these days now, our friends who live in Georgia, we share the knowledge and give them direction how to train, what to concentrate, and they are really doing well. And probably also you guys must know that Georgia has one of the best wrestling, and it's easy to develop their wrestling. Even I never trained before the wrestling, but all these Georgian fighters they train really well back in Georgia wrestling. So they just need to adjust a little bit of style for MA, and I'm sure we're gonna see more and more and more talented fighters there are already a few guys that I'm sure they're going to be signed by UFC very soon.
And so with this victory over Morales, that takes you to, like I mentioned, 3 wins in a row this year, and then a very long winning streak for yourself. Where does that put you at this point in your career? Like, I assume at some point you're gonna have to fight somebody ranked. Like, you must be in a pretty good spot after this victory.
I think UFC must rank me off this fight. I just beat a lightweight fighter who was undefeated, and my resume from kickboxing and karate, uh, it says a lot by itself. So I'm just waiting to see myself in a ranking. And even if it's not, I feel like I can beat anyone in my division. Uh, Sooner or later, I'll be on top of the hill. I know that. I'm working hard for it, and I know I'm gonna get it there. So, yeah, I definitely want some big name opponent next. Either it's top 15 or not top 15, at least it must be some name that people recognize because all my 4 fights were against the fighters that not really had a big fan base. So now it's time to let people see me what I can do against well-known fighters.
All right, and speaking of which, one last question for you. But realistically, who do you want to fight next? Is there like a certain name that sort of stands out for you?
Um, Definitely, I would love to fight Bruce Leroy, Alex Caceres, because we had the fight scheduled for August, and it didn't happen. So we had the fight scheduled twice. First, beginning of August, and they canceled this fight. I think because of the Alex had some health issues, and later when they scheduled me for 29 August, then I tested positive for COVID, and this fight that's why it didn't happen. And they found a new opponent for him. So after this, he won his fight. I won my fight. I think it will be. We had to make this fight happen because back in the days, I remember was watching his fights and was really entertaining. And I was saying that, hey man, that's such a great fighter. What a great style. I want to fight him. I know this is gonna be the great fight for the fans. Hopefully, we can make this happen. If this fight is not gonna happen, I want to call out everyone from top 15.
All right, well, there we go. Thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on this victory, and hopefully we'll see you soon, and you'll get that Bruce Leroy fight.
Thank you very much for having me. I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsors. I want to show them my love, and I'm very thankful to have them in my team. These are Ajarabet, Petrocas Energy Group, Saigon Sports Club, and Models, the new sporting goods company. Thank you, brother, for having me.